Good morning and welcome to another edition of Hanging with the Chads. I am Chad Springer, joined as always by the greatest tag team partner ever, Mr. Chad Boudreaux. How the hell are you doing this morning?
Man, I'm upset, depressed, but I mean, it kind of needs to happen. So maybe we can move on. That's where we'll go with that right now.
Wow, you're upset and depressed. That's crazy. This couldn't be about, Mr. Kelly down there in old Tiger Nation down in Baton Rouge, is it?
Man, that was horrible, horrible. Like this is the worst football season I've seen in all my adult lifehood right now.
You know, I can probably agree with that because neither one of the teams I truly root for are doing anything between App State and UCF right now. But college, man, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, we missed a few weeks. A lot of life changes going on, but we're back, ready to rock and roll. And, hey, this coaching carousel is about to be very, very interesting over these next few weeks. And, think of all the college coaches already got the boot. Obviously, Mr. Franklin up there in Penn State, I think that was probably the dumbest decision they ever made. And let's get into it right now, Boudreaux, and let's talk about some of these college coaching firings. What's the biggest surprise that you've seen so far?
I'm with you with the James Franklin. I thought they would at least let him finish the season. You could see the writing on the wall kind of coming.
Okay.
But I mean, he can't win the big game, and if you can't win the big game, you got to move on. And that's kind of where we're going right now with BK down in LSU. Like it hasn't happened yet. That $53 million buyout is huge.
Yeah.
But with James Franklin gone at Penn State, it could start that domino effect that maybe they try to persuade OBK to go up there. I mean, that would make a lot of people down in the Bayou happy. Like this experiment with somebody who's not fitting in at LSU, it's got to be coming to an end soon. Because I say, even as me, as somebody who doesn't like coaches being fired when they do have winning seasons, this is done, man. It's terrible down there on the Bayou right now.
Hey, speaking of a bayou, I mean the Florida Gators, their bayou. Old Billy Napier, Sunbelt Billy or whatever they call him. He got let go even after a win. We're talking about Jay Norvell at Colorado State. Obviously, James Franklin. Penn State. Come on, man. Y'all screwed the pooch. He came in when y'all basically had the death penalty. Obviously, Billy B, he left, went back to New England, and then he went back to Houston or whatever. I mean, then you got James Franklin. He came in there and he rebuilt that program, man. Nick Saban said that was the dumbest decision they ever made. Sam Pittman was let go. Mike Gundy, he spent 21 years at Oklahoma State, and that's what y'all get. I mean, but there was talked about him on the hot seat anyway. Obviously Deshaun Foster at UCLA. Brent Pry over at Virginia Tech. I mean, these are some names. Like, obviously, James Franklin is the biggest one. Mike Gundy's a big one. The question is who's next? Is Florida State basically already said that they're gonna do a comprehensive evaluation at the end of the season. I think that's, in other words, hey, big guy, just let you know, you got about 3 more games left. We're going to fire your ass as soon as the game's over. The question is, how are they going to fire him? Are they going to fire him Herm Edwards style at Arizona State on the end zone after the game? Or are they going to give him a day to clean the stuff out? That's the real question, what they're going to do over there with Norvell at Florida State. What would you do as an AD for him?
With Norvell, yeah, it would have to be. I would do it the proper way. I wouldn't do it the old Arizona State way. I would.
I like that way though.
It's funny. What's their last game? Is it on the road or is it at home?
Let's pull up the Florida State football schedule.
Because if it's on the road, then I mean, you might just be like, find your own way home. I'm out. Like you're done.
Oh, they're gonna get him on the tarmac. Who did they do that to? Somebody got it on the tarmac.
I mean, it's always the thing that all the fans always say, like, don't let him on a bus, don't let him on a plane. I mean, hey,
It's hey, they're gonna leave his ass in the swamp. They're
oh,
playing Florida to close the
yeah,
year out.
they're gonna do it right there. They're gonna do it in the swamp. Then, no, yeah, I would do it the proper way. I would give them the day. We call a meeting early in the morning, like 6 in the morning, the next day on Sunday, and
Ooh,
be like,
early.
hey, yeah, and be like, you got the rest of the day to call your team meeting, but you're fired. And I would keep it. I would do my best to keep it between me and the head coach. That way, it doesn't get leaked out because you want that opportunity for the coaches to tell the athletes. So then you can go in after that and be like, look, the coaching search starts now. There's a lot of good coaches out there. We value your opinion and see what goes on from there. Again, it's big money. You're not talking about some of these like mid majors. You're talking about this is Florida State. Like if you could throw that in there with BK too. Like you talk about, so there's going to be a lot of money involved. You're going to have boosters that are going to have their say, especially like if you're doing a big buyout, like what they're doing. I mean, I know we're talking Florida State, but with LSU, if they do it with him, you're going to have to talk about like, are they going to be able? The boosters going to be able to support the NIL plus the $53 million buyout. And
Yeah.
then what's is it in the contract with the buyout that if he goes up to, let's say, a Penn State, is that going to end where you don't have to pay him anymore? So there's a lot of things that go in that. So yeah, with Florida State's the same way. Like, what's the buyout for Norville? Is it going to be a a big buyout, or is it small enough to where hey, you get one booster, he could pay that out of his pocket, and then the other boosters can worry about your NIL. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot that goes on with this business now with college football. It's not like
Yeah,
it
this
used to
pay to
be.
play right here, bro. This is pay to
Yeah,
play for real. I think I don't think anyone could do it as classy as Coach O did, though.
yeah,
Hey,
that was the
Coach,
best.
they that story where he's like the AD standing there, he's like, "Hey, Coach, things aren't looking too good right now." He's like, "Oh shit, you could have told me that 3 weeks ago. I would have agreed with you then too." And he's like, "Well, we owe you whatever 19 million or whatever it is." And he's like, "We're gonna pay you, but we're gonna let you go." And Coach O said, "Shit, which door you want me to leave? And you want me to turn the lights out when I leave?"
Right.
I mean, come on now. I think Coach O needs to come back in college football. That's one of my favorite college coaches. And, just thinking about the college coaches who's on the hot seat right now, the college coaches who are, hey, this might not be a good thing going in for you this week. Like, they're talking about, uh, obviously, we know Norvell's seat is really, really, really hot. Uh, is there any other coaches you think that got the hot seat? I mean, they're talking down in Auburn with Coach Freeze. His seat's pretty hot. What do you think about these other coaches? And we're gonna leave a certain uh, goat coach off that table because we know his seat's been hot since the day he got hired there. So, what do you think?
No, so yeah, obviously BK, his seat's hot.
Yeah,
You got honestly, it's shocking to say this, but there are definitely whispers coming out of Ohio State that if Ryan Day doesn't beat Michigan this year, he might be on the hot seat. I mean, you go and win a national. I don't believe it,
he was on
but
the hot seat last year though, and he won a national championship.
yeah,
If he loses to Michigan and wins the damn national championship, they're gonna keep him.
yeah. But if he loses to Michigan and doesn't win a national championship, does he go in the hot seat? Do they give him another year? Because I mean, what is it? 3 years in a row now they lost to
Mhm.
Michigan.
No, they haven't beat Michigan. Him as a
Well,
head coach, they have
yeah.
not beat
So I
Michigan.
mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, so you can't beat Michigan. I mean, it's one of those things, right? Like, you can't beat
Hmm.
Michigan, you can't beat Ohio State in that rivalry. You don't get to be there long, and that's what really happens with LSU. If you can't beat Texas A&M, you you don't stay there very long. And
It has
then
been 2,151 days since Ohio State beat Michigan, with the last victory occurring on November 30th, 2019. The team did not play in 2020 due to COVID. However, it has been 2,151 days since Ohio State has beat Michigan.
so there you go. So I mean, that's what they're saying. Yeah, you got Hugh Freeze. You got South Carolina, another one, hot seat. Yeah, he's. I mean, he got the fans back in the stands, but he's not doing anything on the field that's there for him. And then
Yeah.
they lose in epic fashion last night to Alabama. That one because he made the decision to let them score the touchdown. If you look at the press conference, they were
Mhm.
like, They were letting them score the touchdown because they had 20 seconds left to try to get down the field. So now I don't. That's going to be another hot seat right there. Yeah,
I'm reading that Luke Fickell of Wisconsin's on the hot seat.
yeah,
Bill
another one.
O'Brien, we've already mentioned Billy O.B. Up in Boston College. He's on the hot seat. Obviously, Mr. Bill Belichick is on the hot seat too. But I mean, at the end of the day, how do these teams fill those spots, man? Like my question is, there's a rumor going around that Sark is been linked to the, Tennessee Titans head football job. What does that do? I mean, it's crazy to think about it. And speaking of thinking about it, we're going to take a quick break while we think about it, and we're going to come back and see if we can play a little roulette with these guys and see where we can predict they're going to end. And ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you hanging out with us this morning, and we appreciate all that. We're going to take a real quick break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about where these coaches end. Again, this is Chad Springer with Chad Boudreaux. This is Hanging with the Chads. We'll be right back. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Hanging with the Chads here. I'm Chad Springer, joined as always by the greatest tag team partner and tag team champion ever, Mr. Chad Boudreaux. Boudreaux, we got some college openings over here, man. We got Florida, Penn State, Oklahoma State, Arkansas, Virginia Tech, Colorado, UAB, UCLA, Akron, Middle Tennessee, Coastal Carolina, and another one down there in Louisiana Tech. But there might be some potential with Auburn and Wisconsin, obviously Florida State, LSU, Boston College, and Carolina. How are we going to fill these jobs? Like, who are the big candidates out there? They're going to go try and make a splash. They're going to try and bring someone from the NFL. Let's start off here. Let's just start off here close to us right now, about 2 hours way up there in Gainesville. Who's going to replace, the Sun Belt god himself, Billy Napier?
I think that's Lane's job. If Lane wants it, it's his job. He loves Florida. He wears a visor because of Spurrier, which he stated that. I think it's a perfect fit for both university and for Lane. So that's what I think is going to happen. I think he's run his course at Ole Miss. I don't think he can do much more with them.
Except win a national title.
I don't think they're going to win a national title. That's the thing. They can't. I don't think Ole Miss is ever going to win a national title, not in football. So I think the only option he would have, if that's what he wants to do, is go to Florida, and that's where I think he'll be. After that, that Penn State job, and just because I want this to happen, I'd love for BK to go up there because I think that's a good fit for him. I think he fits the mold for what they do up there. But I don't know if that's actually going to happen. I could see like a Luke Fickell going there. I think that's another good fit for him. But again, are you going to take a coach that failed at one of your rival schools and see if he could succeed? So
I mean, he did hold Oregon to scoring less points than they did at Penn State, though. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a act of God. Oregon only scored 21 points last night.
Right.
We need to check on Mr. Dan Lenning, our third favorite college football coach right now. We need to check on him and make sure he's okay. I'm sure he threw a fucking table last night. So just make sure he's fine. Make sure he's fine. Check on Dan right now.
Then it's once that happens, then the dominoes fall. Then there's a lot of what ifs. There's going to be a lot of OCs and DCs that are going to get some of these jobs. You're going to have like an OC from, let's say, like Alabama right now because they're just lighting up the scoreboard, or from Texas A&M, their OC, their DCs, they're all going to freaking go somewhere and get an opportunity. It just depends on where the first domino to fall is going to be. Is Lane Kiffin going to go to Florida? If that
Yep.
happens, then that's when you start seeing all kinds of things happening. And does LSU release BK, or does BK decide to go somewhere? If those two things are the big things that are going to start the domino effects everywhere else.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be interesting. I would love to see Cousin Lane come to Florida. I truly, truly would. I mean, he's obviously linked to him. He's a Spurrier acolyte. I would love to see that. Obviously, we got to think about Penn State here. There's talk that Eli Drinkowitz from Mizzou might be able to fill that position. Obviously, it's going to come down to a lot of things. The Razorbacks job is going to be open, and yeah, the dominoes are going to fall. But here's the crazy thing is, as well as our brothers to the west, USF is doing. I mean, their head coach might get a job too. I mean, Alex Golesh. I mean, he's doing well this year. So I want to know where James Franklin's going to end up. I want to know what that's going to look like.
Honestly, I can see James Franklin, and everybody thinks I'm crazy about this. I could see James Franklin going to South Carolina. If South Carolina opens up, I think that'd be a good fit for him. He's got the moxie, he's got the attitude, and he's an all around good dude. I think he'd fit in perfect there. But it just depends on if that falls. If BK does leave, I would love Drinkwitz to come down to LSU. I think he'd be a good fit there.
He just has to change one shade of color on his shirt, and he'll be fine.
Yeah, I just think like the way he drives his team, he motivates his team, and the way he just walks around, I think he'd be a good fit in the Bayou.
Yeah, it definitely. I think the biggest thing I'm looking at is obviously that Florida and Penn State is going to be the first domino. Let's just get real. Florida State's going to be a domino too, and I have a prediction on Florida State. No one's going to like this prediction at all, and it's time for Prime to come home. It is Sunday, October 26th. I am calling my shot that within 24 to 48 hours of Norvell getting booted out of Florida State, there's going to be a Cadillac rolling up and Coach Brown is going to be getting out. I don't care what anybody says. He has been a winner everywhere. Yes, you can say, oh, he had his son, this and that. Who cares? Look at what the financial impact he did at the 2 college football coaching stops he did.
Yeah.
Look at the financial impact. Look at the facility impact that he brought. We're not even talking about the revenue to Boulder, Colorado. We're talking about down there in Jackson, Mississippi, Jackson State, where he turned that entire university around, got an indoor facility, kids didn't have water in their dorms. I mean, he got them water, he got them stuff. Then Boulder, all that money and all those people that was coming in there for the past 3 years, man. I think Florida State's going to go out and grab Coach Prime. We respect you on this show. We don't disrespect you like those jackass announcers did a few years ago. Coach Prime, come home. I will convert just like I have the last 2 times you left. I will convert to an FSU fan as long as you are the head coach there. I'm a hawk it up, baby. So
can you imagine what it would be like if Lane goes to Florida and Coach Prime goes to FSU?
I imagine what the damn ticket prices are going to be for the freaking game, and I'm going to be pissed because I ain't going to want to pay them, but I'm going to. I would go. I'll have to wear a visor with a FSU pullover though, just to show love to both of them. That's just think about it, man. Like hell, we're at a time where Coach O can come back now. They're linking Coach O to jobs right now. It ain't nothing big, but just his presence in a job. I think Mr. Franklin's going to get one of these big jobs too. I don't think he's going to get some small time job. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be able to come down to Florida, but hell.
I was saying South Carolina would be a good job for him. I don't think he's going to get one that they're looking for you to go to a national championship.
Well, think about this. Lane leaves Ole Miss.
That's another good spot for him.
Mr. Franklin goes over to Ole Miss. I mean,
Yeah.
Come on now. I mean, at the end of the day,
Coach O would be good at Ole Miss too if they put it if Lane leaves.
Just imagine him trying to talk about the Rebels. Like, oh no, Rebels. That's all you understand. Go Rebels. What? What do you say? Go Reba McEntire. What? But but you got to think about some of them West Coast jobs that's going to be open too. The Stanfords. I mean, obviously Frank Wright is an interim. They're probably not going to keep him after the season. You're going to have UCLA.
The only problem with UCLA is because they play in the Big Ten too. So that's the only way James. I don't think James Franklin goes there.
Well, no, I'm not saying that's where he's going to go.
Stanford would be good. He's got the look for Stanford. He does have the look for Stanford.
Yeah, he does look like a smart person. He puts some glasses on. He's Clark Kent.
Yeah, but I mean, he is an overall smart. He's very
smart.
Well, I mean, like he would be perfect for Stanford, and they play in the ACC, so it wouldn't be
a little bit easier.
Yeah,
So I mean, even Virginia Tech. I mean, people linked him to Virginia Tech. I don't see him going there.
Yeah, I don't think Metallica hypes him up too much. So I mean, I'm just saying, like,
I mean, he does listen to Mo Bamba in a whiteout, though. I don't.
Maybe, man, maybe.
That was a little close one, but I think this cycle is going to be fun because they're linking NFL coaches out there too. They're linking the Cliff Klingberry to come back.
Yeah, he's going to be coming back. I feel that, but he's going to have to go somewhere where he's going to that would be good. That would be good for him. If according to Florida, he'd go to Ole Miss and he can air it out at Ole Miss.
According to Bleacher Report on an article they posted, cousin Cliff Kingsbury is going to be a candidate for the Stanford Cardinal job. So that's according to Bleacher Report. I like Bleacher Report. They're also linking Alex Golish to the Oklahoma State job.
I can see that. Yep.
Rhett Lashley, from SMU going to Arkansas. So I mean, it could be interesting.
I don't know why he would leave SMU for Arkansas. I don't know about that one.
I can tell you why he would leave SMU for Arkansas. $1 bill, y'all. Hey, look.
They get that Walmart money.
Look, man. Yeah. Say you wouldn't.
I mean, I would, but I'm just saying,
Arkansas calls you and says, Mr. Boudreaux, we're going to make you our assistant athletic director. We're going to pay you $750,000 a year, and then we're going to give you a free Sam's Club membership for life. I'd be like, all right. Let's go, baby.
Hey, I got a lot of family members that live up there, so they'd be happy if I moved up there.
I ain't got no family members there, but $800,000. I'm like, man, fuck them. Hell yeah, let's go. Hey, 800,000 is quite a bit, 100,000 more than what I make now.
Yeah, quite a bit.
Quite a bit. And then some. All right. Hey, and speaking of making some money, ladies and gentlemen, this episode is going to be based on the art of the interview, how to get a job and how to interview for a job. And so that's why we're talking about this coaching carousel. We ain't even got into the NFL coaching carousel where we know there's going to be some jobs. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't know how the hell Mike McDaniel still got a job down in Miami. I have no idea how he's still
nobody available right now for him. That's why there's no one yet. It's too early for them to find somebody get a big splash.
Just get their interim. Just get rid of them. Hire your special teams coordinator. It worked out with Dan Campbell.
It did work with Dan Campbell.
It worked with Dan Campbell, baby. I'm just saying. That dude should have got the job there, and he bided his time. Hey, Motor C, MCDC, Motor City, Dan Campbell. That's the man right there. I hope, I'm not gonna lie, I still want my Panthers to win the Super Bowl because we're on a run right now. We're undefeated in our division,
and the Saints look good in spurts.
I mean, your kickoff returner is looking good in spurts.
I mean, come on. Just be honest with it. We'll be number 1, number 2 picks in the draft next year. Relax. It'll be all right.
Carolina. Number 1 is going to be the Jets. Number 1 is going to be the Jets. Number 2 is going to be the Saints. Number 3 is going to be Tennessee. Carolina is going to have like a top 15 and above pick. Carolina's making the playoffs. We're going to make the playoffs. If we win today with Andy Dalton, we're going to be 5-3, bro. Just saying. Just saying, we win with Andy Dalton today, we're gonna be 5-3. What's y'all's record? Like 2-5? One. One is a very lonely number unless you're the Jets because they got a goose egg. Hey, speaking of the Jets, I don't think Aaron Glenn's going to make it this year. I think he's going to be one and done.
Yeah.
I don't think he should, but I think he will. Yeah.
He's one of those. I think though he's going to make his life as a coordinator, and he's going to make his bank and live as that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see I don't know.
Hey, speaking of coordinators, your favorite offense coordinator ever, and my fifth favorite offense coordinator ever, Joe Brady, he's going to land one of these jobs too in the NFL.
Now, you want to see LSU make a splash. If they go to him, it's going to be nuts in Baton Rouge.
He ain't going to have 12 wide receivers and a quarterback that's a dog, though. I mean, he ain't going to be able to.
LSU, they have 12 wide receivers right now. And the quarterback they got coming up, he's a dog. The freshman that they're bringing. But I'm telling you right now, if that would happen, it's not going to happen. But it is every LSU fan's dream right now is Joe Brady comes back as the head coach.
Hey, bring Joe Brady back as the head coach, and Coach O is the defense coordinator. Just relive 2019 all over again.
No, just have Coach O coach the line. That's all I want. Just have Coach in the line. We'll be fine.
Do you think he would come back and just be an offensive line coach after a place where he sat and won a national championship? 100%. Either he's petty like me or bored.
He's bored.
Hey, you know what? Hey, this is what you should do. You need to bring Joe Brady to LSU. Bring Coach O back as the O-line coach. Saban as the DB coach. You might as well do that. If Joe Brady can get that done, it's gonna be lights out. It's gonna be lights out. Hell, somehow, way, shape, or form, get Lane Kiffin to come be the damn OC.
No, because look, honestly, like the only thing, like there is still hope that it ain't gonna happen. But Saban, because he said it's not gonna happen, but Saban did say that his biggest regret is leaving LSU. So,
you can bring back Les Miles and be the damn
Les Miles
line coach.
Yeah, right.
I'm just gonna go through a list of all the former LSU coaches. If they're still alive, bring them back. Just
we're done. Like, because it was like before Saban, there was you don't even look into it.
Hey, look, Gary DiNardo did okay.
Jerry DiNardo, Magic.
Yeah, I mean, look,
Jerry brings the magic back to Baton Rouge.
Hey, I'm just saying, bro, he's still alive? Hell yeah, he can come out there. He was in the XFL for God's sake, so he's good. He ain't coached since 2004, but we'll get it done. He's 72 years old. He'll be all right. Look, man, it is gonna be something. Speaking of something, NBA's back. There's a lot of talk going on this year about a certain player. I don't want to call him the GOAT because he's not my GOAT. Retiring or something, or trying to get out of LA. I don't care. No. All I know, Luka is ripped and he's balling. Go Luka. The Thunder look like they're going to repeat after just 2 games.
It's a long season, man.
The Hornets already. I've got the lottery pick already.
Yeah, are the Hornets going to even be able to play after everything that happened with the?
Yeah, let's get into that. Let's get into that gambling thing real quick. Good God, yo, like Chauncey Billups, bro. What the hell, man? Hey, they said that. So Chauncey Billups. This is what I've seen online. He wore a Clutch Sports Management hoodie, and that was his way of saying, "Y'all better get me out, or I'm snitching."
Right?
Oh my
God! I get it. I mean, Jordan talked about it all the time, like how much they love to play poker and things like that and gamble, and they want to beat each other's ass all the time because they're just competitors. But what are you doing? Like, did you not think you would get caught at some point? Like, setting up these stupid games where you're freaking using mirrors under the tables and like cameras and everything else so you can see everyone's hole cards and stuff. Like, what are we doing? Like, just stop. Like, you don't need the money. You got plenty of money.
These dudes are on federal charges, though. That's the crazy thing about it, man. This NBA betting investigation, they've already arrested referees too. like according to ESPN.com.
And what, like, who was it with the? It was with the Hornets. Like, he would just check out a game saying he was injured or something like that.
Terry
Like,
Rozier.
yeah. Like, what are you doing?
So, like, Chauncey Billups, Terry Rozier, Damon Jones. Supposedly, there was a referee as well arrested. Like, it's crazy, man.
Granted,
I told you the NBA was rigged.
I've never been to that level. I've never played the level. The highest I got was D1. But you work
JV.
your life. You work your life off to get to that level. For you to do this, like, this right now is a perfect teachable moment for all the coaches out there. Like, this is what happens. You could work your butt off to get to that point of your life. All NBA players, and the NBA is one of the most exclusive clubs there is out there because there's only a certain amount of players that can play. There's only a certain amount of players on your roster.
Terry Rozier.
You're gonna do that after being one of the few, because it's one of the more popular sports. Like, yeah, you got football, but then right behind it's basketball. And especially when you're at our level at high school, like, there's hundreds of kids that are trying out for your teams. Like, for us, we have 130 kids that signed up to try out for basketball for us. And you are in the most exclusive club there is, because there's only 5 that start, and there's only, like, your roster is only so big.
Yeah, they only got like 10 additional players. So you're talking 300 players in the NBA.
Yeah, and you're going to pull this crap? Like, what are you sitting miss? I get it. You like the competitiveness, the almighty dollar that always talks, but you've done everything for the past 20 years to get there, and now all of a sudden you just threw it all away.
Yep. And this isn't meant to be disrespectful, ladies and gentlemen. This is just, let's just talk about it. So Terry Rozier, he's in his 10th season in the NBA, his 3rd team. So he's been a very consistent player to only have 3 teams in 10 years. Some people have 15 teams in 3 years, right? He's made $160,484,983 over his career.
Yeah.
Let me repeat that. $160,484,983.
Is that just contract money? That's not even sponsorship money.
That's just contract money, dog.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, and then so it wasn't the money. It's not the money that got him there. Like, who? Mm-hmm. Like I said, this is teachable moments that coaches can use. We can use as ADs, teachers can use, but it's one of those things where you're dumbfounded that you did all this your whole life and you're throwing it all away for what? Like, because it's not money. It's obviously not money. If you're making, let's just say you're an NBA player, you're going to make $200,000 over your career because of contract money. You said 130, you probably got 70 from sponsorship money. Mm-hmm. Like, what is the point of you doing all this just to win a poker game? Like, just because you're that competitive, you got to win poker games. You got to win. Like, you got to help your friends win bets. Like, what are you doing?
And Chauncey Billups' career earnings, according to Spotrac, his overall career earnings was 17 years. He made over $106 million playing, not his coaching salary. I mean, his coaching salary is obviously a little bit different, but again, that's $100 million. And
he's considered one of the best players that ever played.
Yeah,
and then you weren't even coaching, and they just bring you in to coach because of your name, and then you do this. Like, why? Throw your entire. Now you're going to be labeled as this. Like, you get the Pete Rose treatment now.
But will he?
He's going to. They're going to be labeled as cheaters.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it had anything to do with an actual basketball game or not, because now there's always going to be the question: if he did it for poker, is he going to do it? Did he do it for basketball and just was never found? Like, because people are going to scrutinize everything that he did. Now, did he leave a game early because he was hurt, and they're going to be questioning: was he hurt in that game for real, or was he trying to keep he was point shaving? Did he miss that 3-pointer, or was he point shaving? Like, these are the questions.
I literally seen a video where they had highlights of Terry Rozier, and it said this mofo was definitely betting. Like he was just passing the ball like horrible. I'm like, oh my god, this betting scandal,
But
man.
even if it was just an off day for him, people are going to look at that now. Like I said, with the P Rose, you're going to be taking the P Rose turn now.
Yep.
No one's going to touch you. Your careers are over. No one's going to want to talk to you. The only thing you're going to do now is you're going to do the autograph circuit like Pete Rose did, and you're going to be selling autographs for $100.
This dude probably going to prison. He ain't gonna be selling any autographs.
I'm just saying, like that's what's
he better sign all them autographs before sentencing.
That's all that's going to happen for you now. Like that's your whole life. You're either going to be behind bars or you're going to be on an autograph circuit. You're not going to do anything else for your life. So no one's going to want to touch you.
And according to ESPN, so when Chauncey Billups was arrested, these were on federal charges, right? With rigged poker games and illegal sports betting tied to the mafia for all three of these individuals, right? That we spoke about. This is ESPN. This ain't me. All right. So there were 34 people involved. And they're talking about there is like 20 years apiece on each charge.
Yep.
And by the way, the federal court that they're going to is right down the street from where we live here in Orlando. So they're down here, and this is crazy, man. Gambling 101, man. That's like, come on, dude.
Yes, the number one thing where, like, I remember, and this was back in 2001. I remember one of the classes we had to take for the NCAA was about this. Like, don't stay away from it.
Hey, speaking of staying away from it, we're going to stay away from it because we ain't got enough money to gamble with them anyway. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a real quick break, and we're going to get into our topic today. We're going to talk about some things we like to do in interviews and figure everything else out for you. This is Chad Springer, as always, joined by Chad Boudreaux, the greatest tag team partner in history of tag team partners. This is Hanging with the Chads. We'll be right back on the Sunday morning. Good morning, and we are back, and now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty. We had a little fun about updates and things like that, but we're going to get into the nitty-gritty this week. Hey, this episode, we're going to talk about how to break down an interview, from both sides of the table, how to present yourself, and, how to stand out as a candidate, either for an athletic director, maybe a coaching position, how to conduct yourself, So we're going to get into that. And we're going to hopefully give you some meaningful insights on, what to expect during an interview from both sides of the table. We've been on the interview on both sides. We've been coached. We've been ADs. We've been ADs interviewing coaches. We're going to tell you some things that we look for. And, we're going to get into some things that we might not like. But this is all to our own personal opinion. Every AD is different and every interview is different. I can give you insights to some of the interviews I've been on, just like Boudreaux's going to do. So, without further ado, we're going to teach you how to interview as an athletic director. This is our first topic. Hey, basically standing out as a leader with a clear vision, So some of the things we're going to talk about is what separates a good, strong AD candidate in today's education climate. How to communicate your vision for the athletic department effectively. And, that's just basically saying, hey, this is what I think, but it's also going to show your research to that school because it's all about research too. The importance of your alignment with the school culture and leadership philosophy. So your philosophy shouldn't be any different than what the school's mission statement is in reality, So if you're getting a job at a certain school, you need to be able to tailor your job to the school because the school is the bigger picture. Because if you try to bring your own brand and your own ideas, it might go against what they want to do. And, we're going to teach you how to handle key questions like, what support do you need from administration? Because everybody wants admin support. Everybody wants, to make sure they get all this, that, and the third. And so, we're going to get into all that, So here we go. First question, Mr. Boudreaux. Our opening topic is interviewing, how are you going to interview? So we're going to talk about you got a certain position. Everybody always wants to talk about the head football coach, the head basketball coach, or the baseball coach. But we're just going to talk about generic coaching and how you handling it. So from your experience, how has the interview processes changed over the years from both one side of the table and the other? What do you think?
So number one thing is now, regardless of what position that I'm hiring for, um, it's at least two people now interviewing. We just went through some. Yeah, we just went through. Now, granted, our school's different. Like everybody knows about football and basketball. Those are your two big hires that you're going to do when you do them. But we just went through soccer, and soccer is probably our biggest program that we have at Going to World Drive, and we had two people in on an interview. It was myself and the assistant principal who used to coach soccer at another school in the county. So that's the big thing that changed. Like you can't just go like when I started as AD, when it was unless it was football or basketball, I could do all the interviews myself. No big deal, no problem. I could just bring in like we all have kind of like a standard. And each school's their standard. Like yes, the district has a standard, but then each school principal comes up with their own little standard thing they want you to ask. And then he just gives it to me, and I used to just run with it and just bring him the sheet afterwards. I'm like, all right, this is what the candidates did, and he'll look through it, and I'll tell him what I think, because obviously the principal is the one who has to make the ultimate decision on who gets hired. For some of them, they're just like they sign off on it. For some of them, they're like, all right, let's discuss each candidate. But now it's just you have to have more than one person giving the interview. And then you have to make sure that they understand when you're doing the interview with them that there's tailor made. Like I don't just sit there and just go, well, what do you think about this? Or what do you like? It's more of a conversation. And you have to make sure the person that's with you, because you're the one as the athletic director hiring a coach, you're the one who has to be in charge of it. So you have to make sure they understand like this is how it's going to work. This is the ebb and flow. If you have any follow-up questions for the 10 questions that we're going to ask them. But it's more of an ebb and flow kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I think one of the changes is technology. I mean, Zoom, Teams, Office, whatever. That makes it easier to find candidates, around the country. Not guarantee that they're going to get the job, because I can tell you, if they don't have a FSHA teaching certification or coaching endorsement before the interview, I mean, the highly chance of them getting hired is going to be really slim. And that's not to knock to them, but in our state, in our county, I mean,
it takes forever.
Yeah. So if you ain't got your certificate eligibility or something already, I mean, it's going to be really hard. But it's whatever. I do a tailored interview, just like the school district. You got to ask about nepotism and all that, structured questions. I try to have a conversation, but when we got, 3, 4, 5 people in there for a big job, or maybe 1 or 2 for a smaller job, I mean, it's just, I try to have a conversation without making those questions or death by, questionnaire. And I tell them like, hey, if you don't understand something, ask me. Like, I always ask questions that talk about your communication, how you communicate. I ask questions about how you fundraise. I ask questions about how you get basically people's butts in the seats out here, how to get people excited for your sport. And, as an AD doing it, I also try to take in my experience as the interviewee, some of the questions that I got back in the day. And I mean, I sat on a panel with 9 people for my first head coaching job, and they brought in the Booster Club president. They brought in the school board superintendent, athletic director. They brought in both the ADs at the school, because they had 2 ADs. I mean, had the whole family in there, and it was a good interview. I mean, at that time, I was young. I was excitable. I mean, I'm still excitable, a little bit older, but, I just think about that. If I'm doing a big job and, obviously you want to stay unbiased and very objective during the process, you just bring in other people. And so, like, what I do, and this is kind of crazy, if it's someone I know, I don't score them. I ask the questions, but I don't score them. I allow everybody else to score them, because I take myself out of that equation. And if everybody scores them, high, then hey, it shows that it is a very unbiased opinion for me. I don't want to, I want the best candidate for my school, basically. If my guy is not the best candidate, then my guy's not the best candidate. That's why we have multiple people in there to discuss it.
Right.
So, it's a little So here we go. We're interviewing as an athletic director. The focus is you want to stand out as a leader with a clear vision, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, in your opinion, real briefly, what separates a strong AD candidate in today's education climate?
It's going to be like a lot of deal with honestly like you're talking about like fundraising,
Mm-hmm.
because we don't get much support unless you go out there and get it.
Yeah.
Like my number one vision that I had before I took this job is I wanted our booster club to be a strong booster club, because that's the only way. Like you can only fundraise so much as an athletic director by yourself, and if you start doing it,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to start taking away from other teams when they want to do their fundraising. So the first thing I wanted to do is get a strong booster club. So I started putting it out there to some parents that I knew that their kids were freshmen, because I wanted to
Yeah.
make sure it was built for 4 years. And it was more of just having them go out there and like find those parents to help me out. And now I've got a really strong booster club. So that part of my vision came true. And I mean, you drive by our stadium, you'll see all the damn banners that we have. It's almost
Mm-hmm.
the whole freaking front of the stadium now because of the things that the booster club is doing. And then another part of it is it's just being able to communicate with your coaches and showing the steps that you're going to take to communicate with your coaches while you're in this interview. So you go in there and you say, okay, well, this is the things that I've seen as a coach that the old athletic director did that I worked for, or that he didn't do that I want to improve. So you use
Yeah.
like different things that you've learned from your past by using those connections to the old athletic directors that you've had. Those two things are the things that's going to separate you as an athletic director, because it's the two main problems that you're going to face,
Mm-hmm.
is your communication and money. It's the two
Yep.
major things as an athletic director that we face every day is communication and money. Communication and money. And if you don't have those two things down, nothing else in your athletic department is going to work.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in that, living by experience. I mean, at the end of the day, you hit the nail on the head with that one. I mean, another thing is obviously, do they do they just want to be the AD, or do they want to be the AD? Do they want to lead? Do they want to build those relationships? Do they want to be available? I mean, because I mean, going to an event and not seeing an AD is very rare, but it happens. You
Right.
know, what's your availability like? What's your belief in the education system? Obviously athletes or students first. So at the end of the day, it's just them being available. It is an education based lifestyle that you got to live in. So are you a teacher first? Or how are you going to teach these young men and women, to be young men and women? And we're going to do a little different today. We're going to do a little back and forth. So Boudreaux is going to be asking me some questions, and I'm going to be answering them for him.
Yeah. So I just talked about communication, right? So
Yep.
when I'm talking about the communication, how are you going to communicate during this interview your philosophy and your vision for your athletic department?
So again, it all starts with the vision of the school. If the vision of the school is to promote a safe, engaging learning environment, well, we're going to promote a safe, engaging athletic department. It's going to be inviting. Everybody gets an opportunity to participate. If they make the team, they make the team. If not, then we're limited by roster numbers or tryout size. I mean, but the biggest thing I can say is be very open about my thoughts. Be very open towards my coaches. You always have those preseason, postseason meetings with them. Be very open about what I see they're doing. If I don't like that, my baseball coach is teaching and practicing during practice time, practicing how to rob home runs when we play on the biggest stadium in the school district. That's not very effective for me. We could be teaching other time, like how to get a good lead off from first and still second, how to get a bunt down, hell, how to throw a strike, you know. So if the communication isn't open, it doesn't necessarily need to be direct, but just open. So your coaching meeting, just tell them this is XYZ, what we need to do to be successful. If there's any issues, come speak to me. I mean, obviously, social media plays a big role. People want to know what you're doing and where you're going and who you're playing. So obviously that part of the communication plays into it too. You know, I went to a school where there was zilp for social media and turned it into a social media powerhouse, you know. Uh, so it's just being able to get your ideas across, again, talking to the parents. We don't have a booster club down there at Point Siena and Pleasant Hill. The goal is to get one, but do we have the parents that want to come in and do the work? We have some, but do we have the ones that's going to stay involved?
Right.
So that's just getting out. Hey, this is what we want. We need more support for our kids. So that's communicating that way. And obviously, when we communicate, we got to talk about the importance of aligning the school culture and leadership philosophy. So how are you going to address school culture and leadership philosophy within your athletic department?
Yeah. So this year, I'll just take this year for example. Our school philosophy this year is make it matter, right? So make every day matter, and that aligns perfectly with like we've talked about before, and how we finish every show here is like get better, right?
Yep.
That's my philosophy in coaching. That's my philosophy as an athletic director. My philosophy in life is to get better. So it aligns perfectly. So like make it matter. The way it works out is like, how did you make today matter? What did you do to make yourself get that 1% better for the day? And so when I'm speaking with the coaches and all, I'm like, okay, and it goes through the interview process. We'll talk about it later with coaches. That my number one question I always ask is, what is your practice plan? What if
Yep.
I go out to your practice? What does it look like?
Yep.
And my example of it is my principal knows nothing about soccer, but if he came out to one of my practices or he comes out to one of our girls' practices, he should be able to stand there and know exactly what you're working on. It may not know like, oh, you're working on turning with the ball to the right or turning with the ball to the left, but okay, they're working on offense today or attacking today, or they're working on defense. And that's all we need to know. Like, what are you working on? So then when I look at results in the games, because again, we're athletics, it's results based. If I go to a game and you're working on defending, but yet the last 3 games in a row, you haven't allowed a goal, I mean, you're going to sit down and be like, but you haven't scored any goals either, but maybe one. I mean, you're going to sit down and be like, well, what is happening here? Why are you doing so much on defending when you are killing the, like you're stopping every team from scoring, but you're not scoring? Like, we need to have a talk about what are we doing?
Yep.
And that's what I say, just get better. Like, that's how we kind of align. It's just more of like, how can I fit my philosophy? Because I don't change my philosophy whatsoever because it's so it can go for anything to get better. So I just look and see what the school's doing, how they're doing things. Talk to the principal. He knows what my philosophy is. I know where he's coming from, and we just discuss like where can that fit in when we're talking to the kids. Like the other day, I went to 7-Eleven, and I know the guy who owns 7-Eleven. He gave me a booklet of free Slurpees. And I just walked around campus all day and I was asking all the kids, how'd you make it matter today? And they would give me whatever answer. I studied hard for the PSATs, or I worked really hard. There you go. You made it matter today. Have a free Slurpee.
Hey, I woke up today, so can you give me one of the free Slurpees, please?
Yeah.
That'd be
But
great.
that was another thing too. Like, you know it as well as I do right now. It's hard getting these kids into school. A lot of kids are missing school or they're late to school every day. And a
Yep.
kid tells me he woke up on time and got to school and here you go, free Slurpee. Have a nice day.
Yep. And there's a few key questions we're going to get into. Me and Bujo are each going to select one and talk about them. But, after that, we're going to talk about some common mistakes and some tips. I'll hit on the common mistakes and Bujo can hit on the tips. So Bujo, out of those, some of them key questions, what's one that you want to discuss and how you're going to answer that question? I know which one I want to pick, but I'm going to see if you're on the same page.
I was probably going to be the support one is the one you're going to pick because I know that's what you deal with a lot.
I was actually going to do define success as an AD, but
I'm have to go one too. No, I'll hit the support that you need from administration because I have great support from our principal. He's a former coach, loves athletics, loves football, loves wrestling, loves baseball. So the support that I really need from him is just have my back. To be honest with you, that's really the biggest thing that I ask of our administration. It's just to have my back. So there's going to be decisions that I'm going to have to make. And I'm going to need him to just step in and be like, yep, this is the decision we're going with and we're going that way. Most of the time I go in there every morning early so I can meet with them about 30 minutes and we just talk
Mhm.
whatever's going on in athletics. I give them a heads up. This is what's coming up. I have a heads up. I got a text last night from such and such coach. This happened last night. I'm going to deal with it. And I don't need him coming in and like crawling inside my skin and making sure I'm doing everything. Just be
Mhm.
there if I come to him, like, hey, I'm about to have a conversation with this coach or this athlete, and parent's gonna call me. You're gonna get probably word from this, but I just need you to know this is what's going on. It's like, yep, you play within the rules. These are the rules. Go with it. Have fun. And
Yeah.
then that's really all the support I need. And then every once in a while, again, going back to money, like I may be a couple of dollars short on something, and I might have to go to them for a little bit and be like, hey, can you help me out with this? And that's about it.
You'll be like the little girl on the Will Ferrell skit on Saturday Night Live. Give me my money.
Exactly. Yep.
Go home. You're drunk. You're crazy. Hey, that also goes with the question. We're not going to talk about what type of autonomy do you expect. I mean, just open ended. I mean, if I'm the athletic director, trust my judgment. Obviously, I'm going to keep you in the loop, but just trust my judgment on hiring fire because ultimately it's going to end up on me. But I'm going to talk about how do you define success as an AD. That always gets asked. What does success look like? Well, for instance, when I went to the corner of Pleasant Hill and Point Siena, I mean, it was a rebuild. You know, success is just getting kids out there for us right now. Success is getting teams eligible for the FSHA state team championship. Making sure we have those roster minimums to get that. Success is, having a JV football team now. You know, that's what success is. Success is just getting the kids engaged. Like, our principal told me, she's like, I'm really proud of what you've done because the band is out on the field now, playing during the pregame and at halftime. We have announcers. We have the cheerleaders on the field. We have a little dance team on the field. I mean, the amount of people that's bought in over the past 2.5 years has been great. Seeing those type of entities out there, the energy from the crowd. I mean, I got to give kudos to them. With everything that happened in my life over the past month and a half. I mean, my guys and girls were able just to grab the keys and go when I wasn't there for 2 weeks. And my principal even said, that she appreciates the work I put in because everybody knew exactly what they had to do without a moment's notice when I wasn't there. So
And
that
that's
is
a sign.
success to me.
That's a sign of success
Yep.
right there. And that goes
Yep.
back to the whole
Yep.
communication and everything else we talked about. Because to me, a successful athletic director is one you never see because you don't have like I don't mean like as in like you know who the athletic, but it's more of like you don't have to worry about ever going to him
Yeah.
because everything runs so smooth. You don't have to worry
Mm-hmm.
about ever talking to an athletic director because your coaches handle everything the way
Yep.
you want them to handle things. Your athletes handle things the way you want them to handle things. Your parents handle things the way you want them to
Yep.
handle things. Your admin is there and they're supporting you the whole way through. That's a success. And yeah, I agree. Like what you've done over there, it's been huge success for an athletic director for what you've built from where it was. Because I remember we had that conversation before you went over there. I was like,
Yeah.
"Don't do
He
it,
was
man.
he was
Don't
the
do
last
it."
one I talked to.
I was like, "Don't do it. It's not. It's a mess there." I was like, It's going to be hard." But you built it up to where it's at now, and it's very successful over there now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that, and I don't mind the hard work. It's success, but it's also not finished. It's an ongoing drive. This is the speed racer race, I guess. Like this
Mhm.
is a million hours of driving that we have to do, but it all starts, again, just kids getting to buy in the coaches and things like that, and it hasn't been easy. I mean, it's been some ups and downs. We
Yeah.
always look. I tell people I always don't get along with people, but I still have enough respect to put the team and the AD spot first. So some common mistakes that people often make is they overemphasize results instead of relationship cultures and communication. If you're being an AD, they don't give a poop about what you did as a head football coach or a head soccer coach. They want to know what type of results you can bring as how are you going to build relationships? How are you going to build a culture? And how are you going to build communication? Because I can tell you my first AD job I got was at the Windy City. And that was a first time AD job coming from North Carolina to Florida. with zero experience. I had a school of 320 students to 3,336 students. And I took over after a hurricane on homecoming week. Welcome to Florida.
Yeah.
The thing about that interview is, as I remember this vividly, I was asked, it was the principal and the outgoing AD. They said, what strengths do you bring and what challenges are you going to face? My strengths is I care about the kids. I'm there. I'm always there, home and away. Great. We all know that. Anybody can say that about me. The challenge, I literally said, I've never been an AD before. I'm going to screw something up, but I'm going to learn from that mistake. I'm going to lean on the people that have been an AD. I'm going to lean on the people that can help me, and boom, boom, boom. So there, I worried about relationship. I worried about communication and the culture. I didn't say, oh, as a head football coach, I did this. No. They don't want to hear that. They want to hear how you're going to build those relationships. And that was the hardest thing I had to learn on how to be an AD, is build relationships, delegate, talk to people. Because let's be real, AD, ladies and gentlemen, it's politic. You're shaking hands and kissing babies. You're literally a liaison between admin, athletics, and the school. And if you're like me, you're the director of a lot of other job duties as well. So at the end of the day, it is about those relationships. Those relationships matter. If I got a coach who I have a personal relationship with, they know I can get on to them. Not really get on. I can have a constructive conversation with them and say, this is what I'm seeing wrong. How do you plan on fixing it? As opposed to me coming in, I ain't got to tell you nothing about soccer. You know why? I don't know about soccer. I know it's 120 yards long by 60 yards wide. I don't know. I could be wrong on that. That's a football field. But I know there's 11 people kicking a ball and they can't touch it with their hand except for the goalie. But yet they use terms like pass, dribble, and shoot. That's basketball to me, people. So that's all it is. So, Boudreaux, what are some tips in preparing for these type of interviews?
So, number one thing is the way you dress. Don't come in there. I mean, it's the thing you hear all the time, but there's like a little caveat that I like to do. So, you're coming to my school and you're interviewing, whether you're interviewing for a coach or AD or whatever position, wear the color of the school.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Like, I don't wear a tie, but I wear a suit when I interview because I don't wear ties ever since I got the Marine Corps. Not happening.
Yeah.
But I wear my button-down shirt. If I'm interviewing at my school, it's purple.
What if the school you're interviewing doesn't have colors yet?
Then you're gonna wear your normal blue suit and be happy with it.
Can I not wear my Hanging with the Chads Hall of Fame jacket? Don't think that'd be a good one.
Yeah. No, I don't think that'd do well. No, so that'd be that's like a big tip for me. I don't know. When I see coaches do that when they come in for me or when I interview, I do it. And there's always a remark made by it. Like it's like, oh, you coming in, you already do that. That shows that you've done the research already for the school because you at least know the color of the school. Another thing too, just like because it's going to be a panel. That'll be a principal, probably an assistant principal. You may even have some community members in there. You may even have the district athletic director in there if you're doing for AD position. Make eye contact the entire time with whoever's asking the question. Don't try to if I'm asking the question, don't look at Springer while I'm asking the question and while you're answering the question. Look at who's asking the question because it's just going to be disrespectful if you're not. They're going to think you're not listening to them. Other things I like to do before I go, because it's so readily available through different resources, find out who the coaches are, especially for your major sports, and just ask them questions about the school. Like you can send them an email, hey man, I'm interviewing for the AD position, and ask the question. And like I said, multiple, because you might have coaches that also applied that are there that want it. So ask multiple questions, ask multiple people. And then use it consistent. What kind of students you have there? What's the community outreach like? What is the community support like? What's the principal support like? That way you can, and what's the mission? What are you trying? What is the school trying to accomplish? And that way, when they ask those questions, you already have the research there to tell them, hey, look, this is what I know about the community. Because when you look at my school, you're going to think everyone drives Mercedes, they drive Ferraris. Like if you drive up and downtown,
they do.
The kids don't. The majority of the kids that go to our school, they live in hotels.
Oh, I'm sorry. They got Scions.
Yeah. So just so so when people come interview for the school, like that's the number one thing they say. Well, like I know you guys got a lot of money, and that's right there. I already write them off. I'm
Yeah.
like, you don't know anything about the school.
Mhm.
So ask the coaches because the coaches know what the kids are that are in the athletic department. So you don't have to know. Like you can go online and you can find the coaches, whether it's
Yeah.
through FHSA, whether it's through Max Preps, because most of the time Max Preps has them on there. You
Mhm.
can reach out to the school and say, "Hey, can I get the email number or the email address for the head football coach?" And
Or if
then
you're like me, you just got everything on parents where they just got to click a button, they can email them all. They know them
right,
all now, baby, on the website.
that's what I'm saying. Like, so there's ways you can do it. So find out because you want to. You're gonna know what you're gonna want to know what you're going up against when they ask the questions. What do you know about the school? Like, how do you? And if you're saying, "Well, I'm just going to reach out to the parents to get money," and you try that at my school, we're going to sit there and go, "That's only like a small portion of our school is the kids with money,"
Mhm.
and now you're leaving out all these other kids that don't have money.
Mhm.
So that'd be my big tips that I would say. If you do those three things, I think you got a shot at least.
Yep, definitely. And now we're going to segue into the other side of the table. You're the interviewing coaches. You know, if you're interviewing a coach, what are you looking for? And always you're always looking for that right fit for your kid's culture and school. Uh, you're obviously going to ask your generic questions. We're going to talk about some red flags. How are you going to balance, experience and energy, or take a chance on a younger coach? How do you recognize authenticity or rehearse answers? Um, so from a coach's perspective, if you're interviewing me as a coach, what are you looking for? What are the things you want to do? I know one of the biggest things I always often ask is, you know, how do you deal with parents? you know,
Yeah,
that's a big one. Like, that I got asked that question in an interview once. It's like, how do you deal with parents? I was like, 24-hour rule, man. Uh, it's that simple. I don't talk to parents after the game other than a fist bump and a thank you. I don't say any other word to a parent after a game. Even as an AD, I really don't.
yeah,
Like, even with some of the stuff that's went down lately in sports and everything, like, I'm just like, hey, 24 hours, man. If you got a problem with it when you wake up in the morning, shoot me an email. We'll figure it out Monday. Uh, but I don't. But I make that clear. Parent meetings, I make that clear. You know, whatever, it's known. And
hmm
you know how how do you build a staff alignment? I got asked that question, and then I actually ask a follow-up to that question is, one, is anybody from the staff applying for this head coaching position? Because obviously if I get it and they don't, how are they going to feel? Two, is there anybody you don't want to keep here? And three, is there anybody you want to keep here? Because
yep,
that's going to tell me how much autonomy I have on my program.
hmm
I'm not going to go into a head coaching job and not have the ability to pick my own staff. You
yep,
know, uh, so then they got things like, what's your plan for player accountability? Well, it's real simple. You're going to do the right thing, or you're not going to play. That's simple. It's the easiest answer you can do. They will do the right thing on and off the field. It's all about integrity. Do what's right even when no one else is looking. And then they have these difficult interview questions, you know, like as as an AD, I made this right here to help out other ADs. I also have one as a coach. I mean, a lot of people don't like bringing in evidences and things like that, but I bring in, and this is where my pettiness and like jerk comes into play. I bring in like a little binder, not a big nice one, but a little floppy one in their school colors. Got to think
hmm
smart. So if we're going down there to the corner of Point Siena and Pleasant Hill, it's going to be a green binder or a yellow one if I want to be really bold. But in there, I just have like my resume, have a few little things. Like I have an example of a practice plan. I have an example of a game day plan. I have an example of weightlifting. But
yep,
I also have a spreadsheet of every single coach that they've had for the past X number of years that I can find with their records, individual and overall. So if you're going to a school that, you know, has 10 head coaches in 12 years, I'm going to show them the stability. And one of the questions I'm going to ask is, how long is my leash? You know, is this a one and done opportunity? Like, what is your definition of success here? You know, I'm going to be, hell, I interviewed for a job where I'll be number 6 coach in 6 years.
Right.
I was like, I know you can't guarantee anything, but how long is my leash? You know, so it's always fun. Are you a evidence guy, like a bringing in a binder
No,
for everybody, or are you
oh,
just
I
a
love
sit at
that.
the table and you're going to talk?
No, I love that. Like to me, that means that you're an organizer. You're already thinking forward. Like the ones that I don't like is the ones that aren't thinking forward. Like I love it when a coach comes in and they not being a like cocky jerk, but I like it when they're cocky enough to where you are confident in themselves that they get the job, that they're going to get the job. So
Yeah.
they've already got everything in the book saying, "Hey,
Mhm.
this is what I'm doing." Because again, most of our questions that we ask is, "Yeah, what do you know about us? How are you going to fit in with us?" But then it's a lot of, "What's your practice going to look like? Um, what's the fundraiser going to look like?"
Yep.
Like the things, and if you put that all in the binder, I can look at it. I'm like, all right, well, he's already got it all dedicated to us. He's already ready to take the step. If I hire him today, he can start tomorrow. He
Mhm.
doesn't have to think about anything else. And yeah, we do ask the question like, what one thing is like, because I'm very open. I let my coaches pick whoever they want. Like their head coaches, you can pick your assistant coach as long as they can pass
Yeah.
everything and they can get cleared. They're your assistant coach. And I'll ask them, I'm like, well, who do you plan on bringing in for? If it's like a head football coach, who's going to be your OC? Who's going to be your DC?
Well, nobody's going to be my OC, sir, because I call my own plays on offense. My DC, I'm going to have to find the best available candidate. Do you have anyone on your staff who you think could fill that position?
And I'll give them all the names of everyone that we have. I'll give recommendations, but I'm like, it's solely up to you.
Mhm.
You interview them, you bring me the name, I'll sit with them and I'll have my like don't touch kids interview, and
Yeah.
then
Rule
and
number
then
one.
and push them off. Like to me, it's you as the head coach. You're running your program. You
Mhm.
run your program the best way you see fit. I'm
The,
staying out of it.
the best advice I'm going to give anybody is if you sit in an interview and they ask you who you're going to bring on and you give a follow up, uh, who do you want to stay? And they say, oh, the whole coaching staff. Unless you're at IMG, I wouldn't take that job.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't either. Because again,
Because that means you can't bring in.
yeah, you can't bring
Yeah,
in your people, and you how are you supposed to trust people you just met?
exactly. Because it's just like being an AD. And I tell my coaches, I only hire head coaches. You hire your assistants. Because if I'm hiring for my head boys soccer coach, I got a head boys soccer coach, and I bring in Boudreaux as an assistant. Guess what they're going to think? Boudreaux's there to replace me. He's
Yeah.
Springer's boy. You know.
Mhm.
So I mean, at the end of the day, you just got to be able to talk to them and be like, hey, if I'm going into a situation that I don't know nothing about, and it's just a head coaching job that piques my interest, then I'm obviously going to ask those questions. Like, hey, the main one I'm asking is who the hell is interviewing from this coaching staff? Because
Right.
that's the first 3 people I'm probably going to get rid of.
Yeah. I'll
Because the
give them
last time,
you give them the interview as a courteous, but
yeah,
unless they come in there and be like, look, I fought like especially like from our two schools because the way
yeah,
historically we are in this in like football, and if you're like, well, why didn't you make? Because that was the number one question. Because we did have a few that from the last staff, and we're like, well, why didn't you make the changes? Because we're looking for a change. That's the reason why he's let go because we wanted us to
hmm,
succeed. Why didn't you make a change there? And if the answer is, well, I just, he was the head coach and I just let him. I'm like, that's not an answer to me. Like, if you firmly believe in something, how are you if a parent comes up to you and goes, well, because I mean, we do have those parents that think they know more than everything, and they're coaching club or whatever, and they're going to come up to you and be like, you should be doing this. How are you going to stand up to that parent?
why are you
You can't-
running the ball?
Yeah, why are you not throwing it all over the field, or why are you throwing it all over the field?
Well, we
Like,
ran for 495 yards and 6 touchdowns tonight, ma'am. There's no point of throwing a goddamn ball. We
right.
won 42-0.
But again, like that's what I'm saying. Like, why if you're not strong enough to stand up and be like, "Hey, this needs to change.
Mhm.
This needs to change," and you don't make anyone else aware of that, where I can go over to one of the other coaches, "Hey, did this person fight the head coach the whole time
Yeah.
because he was firmly thought this?" And they say, "No, he just sat there quietly." Then you're never going to be it because you're not the one that's going to be standing up fighting for what you believe in. And how are you going to face our parents? Because the parents these days, these parents, they think they know everything about whatever sport it is, because their kid's been playing club for however many years, or Pee Wee for how many years, or they coached it for a couple times, and they think, oh, because we were successful in that, it's gonna change over into high school when high school is a completely different beast.
Those are the parents that don't know the difference between a center back and a fullback.
Yeah.
But literally. So yeah, and I like what you hit there. And again, the reason I asked that question is who interviewed, because even if I keep them, it's going to be known. Hey, Friday nights, if I make a decision, if I hear anybody say, "Oh, if I was the head coach, I would have made that decision," I'd get rid of your butt.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the biggest thing is, ladies and gentlemen, you just got to be yourself. You got to be authentic. You got to be yourself, and you got to be prepared. I mean, don't just interview for a job without knowing about that dang school. Uh, don't interview for a job that you don't think is going to be good for you and your family, and especially don't move for a job that's not going to be one that you're going to have next year, because the last thing you want is to have to get in that situation. uh, and always, always, always in that interview, like I always ask, if I'm the interviewee and Boudreaux's like, you got any questions? Like, yeah, how are you going to define the successful season this year? It could be a late hire. I mean, you could hire someone right before spring football begins. And I know I always refer to football because I'm a football coach, but still, I mean, if you're hiring somebody before spring football begins, what's already happened? The choice has already happened. How many kids ain't coming back? Am I going into spring with my roster I'm going into the summer, or am I going to lose 20 damn kids because you
Right.
didn't have a head coach? Why are you hiring so late? Was there, other people that you hired that you got rid of? And if so, why are you hiring? Why don't you just have an interim? If you know this is probably going to be a wash season, just have an interim and then reopen on November 1st.
But I mean, yeah, it's true too. And then when they do ask that question as the athletic director, like be upfront and honest. Like if
Yep.
I'm hiring for boys soccer, there's an expectation that we're gonna win districts. We're gonna win. Like, but that shouldn't be the only thing
Mhm.
that is there. So if I'm hiring, like I said, for boys soccer for us, there's the expectation that we're going to make it to the district championship game. We're gonna make it in the state playoffs. We've done it for 11 years straight, basically now. So
Mhm.
it needs to continue and you need to build on that. But it's also, you also have to say, like, it can't be everything being results based as far as wins and losses. It's got to
Yep.
be, are the kids enjoying themselves out there? Are the kids looking forward to being out there? Or are the kids hating life because they have practice today? Are the kids doing the right thing in the school hallways? Or are they constantly getting, which is one guy that was supposed to interview for boys soccer. I called the old athletic director from the school he was at, and he goes, he wouldn't hire him because the kids were always in trouble. They weren't doing the right things in the classroom. I was like, well, I'm not even going to interview him because of that. Like he doesn't have a grip on kids. I'm not going to interview him because that's, again, the number one thing is student then athlete. You got to make sure that your success, when you measure success for a coach, it has to deal with the classroom too.
I think I made a good hire on my boys soccer team. Just going to be honest with you.
I mean, you need something. You guys have been terrible forever. God.
hey, hey, look, man, I
Yeah, I
got
need to
one,
challenge Point Siena. Like, can you challenge Point Siena for once?
bro.
That'd be the thing.
We're, we're trying. Shout out TK. Shout out TK at Poinciana, or excuse me, Eagle Way. Shout out TK at Eagle Way. Uh, no, man, it's always about understanding where you're getting into. It's always about understanding what the demographics is and all that. And even, one thing, even though my time down there at the End of World Drive was very brief, I love when we go back and the kids still come up, dap me up, hug me. Hey, coach, how you doing? I love that, because in that short time, I feel like I made an impact on them in just that short time. Even your former coach, when I left, when I had to call him and say I was going to go down there to the corner of Point Siena and Pleasant Hill, he was like, "This ain't the phone call I wanted." Uh,
Hmm.
God rest his soul. He was like, "You're one of the guys that truly get it, man." He's like, "I didn't want this to happen," and but
But that is
unfortunately,
like that is another form of success too. Like when
yeah,
you go to a game, like for us for boys soccer, when I go to a game and like half the alumni that I coached, they come back and watch the game. So they come out to practice and they watch practice and they always contact the coach. How's the team this year? How's the team going to do this year? Things like that. That's another form of success too.
yep,
Like having those bonds with those kids. So That goes back to, are the kids excited about playing for you?
Yep.
Are they coming out there? They're giving you everything they got. I can go out there to any sport. I don't care what sport it is, and because I don't know, like you said, soccer. You don't know soccer. I don't know half, like lacrosse. I don't know what swimming should look like. I don't know what tennis should look like, or golf. Like, I know I play golf, but I don't know what it looked like at practice. But if I
I
go out to
tried.
your practice and I could see that the kids are, I could tell if the kids are enjoying themselves, if they're having a good time, or if they hate being there. And if I could see that, that's the number one thing for me. Are the kids enjoying? Because again, it's a game. At the end of the day, we're playing a game, and it should still be fun. Our
Hmm.
football, both our football teams are having terrible seasons right now, and a lot of them aren't having fun because it's terrible seasons. But are they continually still coming out there and playing?
Hmm.
That's a
Absolutely. And
form of that's a form of success.
that is a 100% form of recess. That's actually a question that I have on my interview for head coaches. You haven't had a particularly good season. How do you motivate the kids to keep coming back Monday after, getting your faces beat in on Friday? Because that shows what you're doing to motivate the kids. And, you know, some key takeaways for today, ladies and gentlemen, as, always be prepared, be authentic, and be aligned with the school's mission and values. Um, Next week, on our next episode, we're going to talk about how we're going to build and retain coaching staffs after the hire. Because in high school athletics, it's a revolving door. I mean, hell, you might be able to have a coach for a year, but his teaching license or coaching endorsements expire. How are you going to ensure you retain them? And, I'm Chad Springer, joined as always by the greatest tag team partner ever, Chad Boudreaux. Boudreaux, how are we going to wrap this up today?
Like we always do, man. Get better.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're 1% better today, that means you're going to be 2% better tomorrow. And anytime you can get better, it's a great day. I'm Chad Springer, joined as always by Chad Boudreaux. Thank you for hanging with the Chads today. Have a wonderful day.